Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to another Lakehead International Live. My name is Jordan Ball. I'll be your co-host today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been my pleasure to be the webinar host, and I'm excited to share more details about admissions and applying to Lakehead. So with that being said, for those of you who maybe don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Ball. I am the International New and Social Media Officer here at Lakehead University, and I help run live events like today. I also help manage our social media channels as well as the Global Ambassador Program here on the Thunder Bay campus. So once again, thanks for joining, and hopefully you're ready to learn more about how to secure an admission and a spot here at Lakehead University. In terms of an agenda today, we are going to be looking to first chat about studying in Canada, and I'll set the stage for what benefits are to choosing Canada. And then we're going to chat a bit about steps to enrolling. And with that being said, once we go through steps in enrolling, it really dives into the best part of the webinar, in my opinion. We go into the actual undergraduate application guidelines, and then we review the online portal. We do the same for graduate after that, so reviewing those application guidelines, some tips and tricks, and then we'll actually go into the graduate portal and we'll check things out so that you get a better understanding for what it's like to apply to Lakehead, what is going to be required of you, all that fun stuff. So on that note, I think it's time to dive into things. And first, I'd like to set the stage to remind our viewers, of course, we recognize you're currently potentially weighing the option of where to study in the world. And so you could be looking at Canada or one of the many countries that offers experiences similar to us. However, we feel, of course, that we go above and beyond in terms of supporting international students and offering a really great opportunity for you to thrive in a safe and peaceful and inclusive society. Canada is one of the most, or one of the safest countries in the world. We are also a fairly young country, and in that same respect, we love to celebrate diversity. And so, as an international student, we hope that you'll feel welcome in a happy and peaceful country. Of course, there's some rankings on the screen. We're top 2 best countries in the world, top 11 most peaceful countries in the world. Something that's not on here, but incredibly important, I think, to share is also that Canada is ranked the top 5 of 89, of a list of 89 for the best countries for quality of life. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, essentially, in terms of showing you that we are a country that's ready to welcome new students, and hopefully you'll choose us one day. Another important factor around why students choose Canada when they're looking to study abroad is because when they choose Canada, they're also choosing employment. You have the opportunity to take advantage of earning while you learning. So essentially taking your study permit that you have, of course, pursuing your academics, but you'll also be eligible to work in Canada while studying for part-time hours. And then during scheduled breaks, so where you don't have any academic sessions, you actually will have the ability to work full-time hours. Another critical piece, and I know many audience members will be excited to hear this, Lakehead does participate, and we do have eligibility for postgraduate work permits. So all of our degree programs are eligible for the maximum 3-year consideration. It's going to give you an opportunity to hopefully gain knowledge and skills and experience from an incredible career here in Canada. Of course, we have plenty of career opportunities to offer international students. And at the same time, if you decide to return home with that knowledge, the skills, the experience you gain in the Canadian education and workplace setting, those will definitely benefit you. And last but not least, if you choose not to return home, or you desire not to return home, I should say, you have the opportunity to also apply for permanent residency after your studies. And so by completing a university degree, you will receive extra points essentially for that application when going to secure permanent residency. Canada is quite a large country, I'll note, and many of you probably have seen the map. It's very large. We are in the province of Ontario here at Lakehead University, so we have 2 campuses, one in Thunder Bay and the other in Orillia. These are beautiful hometowns that offer incredible opportunities for international students, but more importantly, we do offer housing and on-campus residence for students. So you will have a place to call home when you arrive here at our campuses. You also can look forward to participating and pursuing an education that has been reviewed and rigorously accredited. So we do have actually the accreditation from Ontario Ministry of Advanced Education and Skills Development. We are one of 21 public universities here in Ontario. All 21 are accredited by the same board. So that ensures that whether you complete a degree at Lakehead, complete a degree at University of Toronto, Waterloo, your degree is fairly similar in terms of what it went through to be approved to ensure that it is valuable and it's delivering the right curriculum, all that sort of stuff. What that means also, because our institutions have really high quality education, and there's so much opportunity in our province right now. We actually have the highest employment rate for university graduates in all of Canada. So the province as a whole is looking at a 95.1% rate. I will note Lakehead is actually higher. We're looking at a 97.4% employment rate after 2 years of graduation. So we have one of the highest employment rates and we're certainly proud of that. And I think it speaks to the opportunities that are available for international students when they're looking to graduate and gain work experience through that post-grad work permit. So let's dive into today's topic, though. Steps to enrolling. We do have 4 simple steps. They're listed in a number list. I always like to remind viewers this is not necessarily the exact order that you're going to complete them in. But we will go in the order that they're there. So first and foremost, meeting admission requirements, or at least understanding what they are, so that you know how you're going to meet them. Meeting English language proficiency requirements, also in a similar boat, understanding them and knowing how you're going to satisfy them when you apply to Lakehead. That's important. Applying online, that's pretty straightforward, and we're going to look at those online portals today. And last but not least, submitting documents. That's critically important, of course, to ensure that your application is assessed and that we have all the necessary details to move quickly on it. So first and foremost, media admission requirements. I'll start on the left here with our undergraduate audience. So for anyone that's on today's webinar that is considering joining Lakehead for a bachelor's degree, we're looking for the successful graduation from an academic secondary school program or the equivalent to that. And we're also looking for the Canadian equivalent of a minimum of 70% overall final average in that last year study. And then depending on your program of study, there could be program-specific prerequisites. For example, nursing does require math, biology, and chemistry. Those 3 courses as prerequisites ensure that our students have the foundational knowledge to enter first year and have no hiccups. They're going to be able to dive into those courses and dive into any of the experiences that are built into nursing. In other instances, of course, there's going to be unique program-specific prerequisites, so please check those out on our website and determine, are you registered for the right classes? Have you completed everything that you may need to? If not, you can always connect with our recruitment advisors and they'll be happy to advise you perhaps alternative methods to securing that. For our grad students on the right-hand side, those joining us in a master's level studies, we're going to be looking for the successful graduation with an accredited university degree equivalent to a Lakehead University 4-year degree. We'll also be looking for the Canadian equivalent of a minimum of 75% or 3.0 on a 4-point scale. Once again, depending on your program study, there could be program-specific prerequisites. All of that information is published on our website, and you can access that at lakeheadu.ca/programs. Next step is meeting those English language proficiency requirements. So there's quite a few ways to satisfy that. On the left-hand side, once again, undergrad, there's 5 different ways. There's recent studies in an English language school system. There's the successful completion of one of the approved language tests, of course, with the minimum scores required. Successful completion of Lakehead University's very own academic English program. The successful completion of one of our approved Pathway Partners ESL programs. Or last but not least, for undergrads, successful completion of a senior level English course. So those 5 ways give you a lot of opportunity and flexibility in terms of satisfying English language proficiency requirements. For the language tests and for the recent years in an English school system, we're going to look at the next couple slides here in a second to actually reveal what are the numbers, what tests, how long do I have to study, all that sort of stuff. For our grad students, of course, one of the easiest ways and more straightforward ways would be 3 years of full-time study in an English language school system at the post-secondary level. So, of course, essentially we're looking for your undergrad or your bachelor's degree in an English school system for 3 years. We would also accept successful completion of an approved language test with the minimum scores, or of course, joining us for our academic English program. So for our undergrad students, of course, you could be coming from a number of levels of study, essentially. You could be transferring from a college or university, or you could be graduating from high school and joining us right out of high school. When we look at what is required for both the university level and college level, we're going to be looking for a select number of years at that level of study in an English language institution in a country where English is the official language. So perhaps you're transferring from Canada, maybe somewhere else in Ontario, and you've done 3 years or 2 years of a college diploma. You're going to be good to go. If you're transferring from elsewhere, in the world in an English language school system in an English country, and you've only done the first year of studies, you're good to go. If you're coming out of high school, so those students that are perhaps graduating in the next few months, which is very exciting, or you've recently completed that, there's 3 years of full-time study at the high school level where English is the language of instruction. However, English does not need to be the official language of that country. So that's something to note there. It's slightly different than the college and university level transfer students. We don't require the official language to be English. If that's not how you anticipate you're going to satisfy our English language proficiency requirements, of course, we do have ESL tests that we commonly review. So IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, minimum scores listed there. Of course, there are select programs that do have higher requirements so that they can ensure that when you arrive, you're going to be good to go in terms of having the English skills that that program will demand. Next, you're going to have applying online. I put the link there, apply, lakeheadu.ca/apply dash now. And then looking at application deadlines to be included in first round considerations for fall 2025 or September, you need to apply by the following dates typically. So nursing, the date was January 15th. We are still accepting applications until the program is filled for nursing. However, I will remind viewers, even when you see that notice there, so let's still select applications beyond deadline or until program is filled. Typically, we don't get much warning when programs are about to fill, and so it's always best if you anticipate you're going to join that program. If you know you want to apply, it's best to just simply get the process started. For all other undergraduate programs, essentially, with the exception of a few, and you can find those online, international applicants are required to apply and submit an application before March 1. Again, that's for first round consideration. If you're watching this after the fact and perhaps it's after March, or maybe you remember March and you don't apply before then, but it's after, you're more than welcome to still consider an application and we'll be happy to guide you on that process. If you're looking to join us for our graduate programs, international applicants for most graduate programs submit before February 1, which has passed now. However, I'm happy to share that select programs are still accepting applications beyond this deadline and have even published deadlines that are beyond this. So you can check out that at lakeheadu.ca/programs. So that is where you can access all the program specific deadlines. We have it noted right there on that landing page. And so it will help you hopefully determine what are your next steps. Last but not least, we want to encourage you to submit your documents. So document submission could happen at the beginning of your application. In the case of graduate students, you're going to actually upload documents as a part of your application. So you will be able to access
those upload functions, or those tools, I should say, within the portal, and you can upload unofficial or in progress transcripts and documents. For our undergrad students, you'll be required to submit those after you've applied. In both instances, you're going to require official transcripts, English test scores, and perhaps program-specific or supporting documents. In the graduate case, we are also going to be looking for that proof of degree, the thing that states essentially that yes, you have successfully completed your degree. What degree did you complete, and when was it conferred? So those are just a few of the details that are going to help you prepare in terms of your steps to enrolling. But I think it's now time to actually dive into the undergrad side of things, and we're going to take a peek at the guidelines. First and foremost, I want to remind viewers the link on your screen here is a really important link. It's going to give you access directly to where you access both of our applications. And so, if you don't mind, you can save that, you can bookmark it, you can write it down, take a screenshot, whatever works for you. But don't lose that link. It's going to be an important one as we move forward in today's webinar, but also as you move forward in your application to Lakehead University. So before you begin that application, there's three important steps. Number one, select two programs of study, or two program options. With one application fee, you have the ability to actually apply to two different programs. I encourage you to allow up to 20 minutes to complete the full online application and have that payment method ready. So when you're done that full 20 minutes of applying online, you do the payment, and it's with our admissions team at that very moment, essentially. And so they can start reviewing your application fairly quickly. When you go to the website, and we'll walk through this, actually, I will share my screen so that everyone can see, you'll land on a page that looks similar to this. So you can create your account at the bottom there. You can see if this is your first time filling out an Ontario University application, visit Create My Account. Once you click on that, this is what it's going to look like on the first page. It's going to ask for your first name, middle names, and family name or last name. So what I would encourage very strongly here is, if you're applying, take out your passport, take out your travel document, and make sure that any of the given names or surnames and family names, last names, they all match identically here. Of course, this is an official application of Lakehead University, and so we want to make sure that we have your government issued name, but it is critically important that your name from the application stage all the way through to some of the important letters like letters of acceptance, provincial attestation letters, all that information needs to match. So the next step is actually going to be entering your email. I always like to make a note here, or remind our audience, providing this email is critically important, and it's also important that you do not share an email that you don't check. So it's really somewhere that you should be looking almost on a daily basis, if not every few days, making sure you're staying up to date with anything regarding Lakehead in terms of admissions updates, application requests, and so much more. So this is going to be where you share your email address. You will be asked to actually verify the email address by going into your inbox and clicking certain links, doing that fun stuff. But it's critically important that you have access to this email address. The next part is going to be creating your username and password. You can choose any username and password that fits for you. I typically do a combination of my first name and my last name, but everyone's a bit different. And then password, there may be special requirements. You can click either one of those black check boxes to learn more details and make sure that you have all the right information to proceed with creating your online application portal. The next page is going to be a review or a summary, so you can see sort of my review here, just to give you a better idea as to what it will do before you actually create your account. So now here's where we're going to shift gears here, and we're going to go over to our Lakehead U website, and we're going to actually do this together now. So for those of you, you may recall, I've mentioned it a few times now, but /apply, apply dash now is going to bring you directly to this page. You can see both our undergraduate and graduate applications are listed here. I'm going to help everyone get there if they forget that link though. So from the homepage, lakeheadu.ca, you're going to see a big international button right here. Click on that. You'll land on our page. I would highly encourage you to explore this page, perhaps follow our social medias, read some of our student voices, chat with a current student. So much to do, but most importantly, when you're ready to apply, the big purple button at the top, it's hard to miss, I know. Click on that and it's going to bring you to the same spot we were just at before from that /apply now. So let's click on that undergraduate application form. You can see, as promised, that page loaded for us. I've obviously done this before, so I have some login credentials populated here. So we're going to go ahead and log in, and we're going to now navigate what does the portal look like for our viewers. So the first page is a welcome page. And then at the very bottom of each page, there's going to be an option to proceed to the next section. If that's not what you like doing, if you would prefer to use the left-hand navigation, they're the same thing. You do whatever your heart desires. At that point, there is an introduction, a reminder about some of the incredible things Lakehead does and offers. And then from here, you're going to go and browse programs. Browsing programs is actually where you can find the right fit for you. And then you can add it to your application from there. So Indigenous access programs, vast majority of you will not be eligible for this as it is for Indigenous populations within Canada. However, degree programs is where you're going to be looking for the undergrad. So you can see a big list of programs. When you click into one, so let's do media, film, and communication, you're going to see a write-up typically about the program. You'll see admission requirements. You'll see visit Lakehead, additional program details. Why don't we go and load additional program details? Well, look at that. We have an entire web page dedicated to media, film, and communication where you can view admission requirements, first year at a glance, i.e. your courses in first year, how you're going to enrich your education through hands-on learning or other experiences, tuition and fees. So much to learn on this page, and I always encourage viewers, check it out when you are reviewing programs you may wish to apply for. You can see now, when I get to the program details, I'm going to have to make some decisions. So first and foremost, expected date of enrollment. We're going to join in September, fall 2025. Year level, there's always going to be two options here, first year and advanced standing. If you're coming directly out of high school, or even maybe you've taken a break from high school, but you have not completed any post-secondary education, no courses, no 1 year here and now I'm transferring. Anyone that's coming out with that clean slate, essentially, you're going to be a first year student. For anyone that's transferring, perhaps looking for course credits transfers, you can be looking at advanced standing. So we'll save it as advanced standing just for the fun of it. And now you can see I have program choices. I have one there only. So let's go back down here to add program to your application. We'll give it a minute to load. And here we are, back to the program selector. So maybe media, film, and communication is what I'm thinking right this very moment is my number one course. Well, great, we've added that. But you also perhaps think, well, I also do like business and marketing sounds fun. Let's check it out. You can see this here, once again, a brief write-up, more details, finding that expected date of enrollment, year level, advanced standing. We're going to save the program. And now you can see I have two programs. If you remember earlier, I mentioned it's important to have two programs selected because they're all built into the same fee. Now, if you've added these and perhaps you had some time to think and maybe it hits you, I'm actually more interested in business in this case. So you can see these choice numbers. I can change the order simply by changing these drop downs and saving my order of choices. And you can see now business is number one. From here, you're able to proceed to personal information where you can add additional details that maybe you preferred not to include or you didn't include, I guess, in the sign up because it didn't ask for it. So you continue to add details here. Preferred names are not necessarily your legal given name. It's actually, it has to be different than your legal given name. And it wouldn't include your family name or your last name. Of course, I do like to note and remind viewers if you have a preferred name, in some cases, we're not able to use that preferred name when meeting with you, when chatting with you. And so it's always important to take into consideration that some of our information will be required to be shared in your legal name. If you have a former last name, this is for anyone that's gotten married, changed their last name, perhaps within the 5, 10 years, maybe. It's important to include that here because some of your transcripts may not match your current last name, your current documents, all of the stuff you've already shared with us. So we're going to have a transcript on our desk and we're not going to know who it's for necessarily. Gender is also an option that you can share here. Your date of birth, again, identifying as a First Nation status or non-status, Inuit or Métis person, is for Indigenous populations within Canada. Have either of your parents ever graduated or attended a university or college? You can say yes or no. You can also say no declaration. And then a bit information related to your citizenship and language information. So you can see here, status in Canada, vast majority of you will be study permit. Your citizenship, I'm just going to head over to the chat here, see if anyone's shared their country. Looks like no one shared their country. That's surprising. That's okay. We're going to pick a random one. I'll look around the room here. Okay, I'm thinking it's snowing here today in Thunder Bay, so we're going to do Finland, which is a similarly snowy country. Then you're going to be asked to provide the date at which you anticipate arriving in Canada or entering Canada. You can see here it shows that I've put in August 2025. If I'm starting in September, I may want to arrive a month early to get settled in and adjust to my new life in Canada. And my first language in this case is English, but if you were to select other, that's okay as well, or French, obviously. When you're done, save and continue. It's going to give you an opportunity to review your personal information. It gives you an opportunity to review for a specific reason. It wants to make sure that all of the details you've shared match your travel documents, but also are fully accurate. So read it once over. When you're confident it's good to go, proceed to contact information. You can see here, my email is already verified. I did it when I signed up. You should do the same, of course. Your home address and your mailing address is an option to add. It is required actually. And so when you click add over here, it's going to ask what country. So once again, we're going to say we're Finland. Province or state does not apply in this case. That's only Canadian provinces and territories or United States of America states. Address line 1 is required. If your mailing address, your home address has multiple address lines, you can include them here. And then your postal code. If you're in Canada, you don't include the space. If you're in the United States, you separate the zip extension with a hyphen, and your city is required. If you've done your home address before your mailing address and you have the same address, so essentially you can receive packages, mail at your home, you can tick this box here, my mailing address is the same, and you're going to be good to go. I will note, so I've skipped a few fields here. If I go to save and continue, it's going to give me the error messages at the top and ask me to resubmit the form. So that's always good to know that you can't jump ahead of the process. Applicant type, you're going to either apply as an international student in a full-time undergraduate studies program or any of the other options that best fit your case. And then you'll be asked about agents. So we do work with third-party authorized agents here at Lakehead University. And so if you've contracted the services of that academic agent, we're going to need to know about it here. And that's so that we can share in critical information and updates related to your application directly with them. If you hit no, all of these fields below here become non-required. If you hit yes, you can see fairly quickly required. So if we did have an agent, you'd put their name, they know their ID, and they're most likely guiding you on this application process, the agent branch office, and the email address for the agent. You will also need to release your application status and information with your agent by selecting yes. If you have previously applied or even registered here at Lakehead, we would also like to know that information. Once again, save and continue. It's not going to work. I have quite a few missing fields, but we're going to jump ahead to the next one, academic background. This is another favorite of mine in terms of showing you how to add your institutions to show your academic background. We'll require all institutions where you've been registered in one or more secondary or post-secondary courses Those institutions can include, but are certainly not limited to, regular day school, private school, night school, summer school, online schools. Things that we don't need include institutions where you're a home high school registered for courses, your board virtual exam, dual credit or specialist high school majors, or, and last but not least, e-learning through consortium. When you're ready, you can click Add Institution. We're going to get started. Now, if you remember, I earlier said that we were in advanced standing because we had transferred. So we're going to select that we did a post-secondary undergrad. You can put the from date, and perhaps I started in 2023 in September, and I'm done. Let's just say that I wrapped up in December last month. I'm done with that study. Now I'm transferring to Lakehead. So your institution location, we said we were in Finland. Now this institution names is going to populate a list of institutions that are applicable. So you can see some of the colleges and universities here in Finland. Your list should populate something for your country. If it does not populate the right institution, you can always click not in list, and that's going to populate some new fields that will become required. So we need the name, country, city, and address. Your highest year level achieved. Well, I made it into maybe my first year in university. My field of study, let's say business, your diploma or degree type. So this is going to now populate based on a wide range of potentials. If yours is not listed here, you can always select other at the bottom. For diploma degree status, it's not expected in this case, for example, because I'm not going to wrap up my studies. If you've conferred it, you've completed the degree, you would say that if it is expected. So in the case of high school applicants, if you are applying now, you're expected to graduate in June, you're going to select expected. And diploma degree date, it's only applicable for students that have completed post-secondary and CEGEP institutions. So if I save and continue once again, required fields missing, that's okay. We're going to continue on. Transcript requests. This is where we actually take the opportunity to work with our Ontario University and college partners to receive transcripts if you're studying with them right now. So perhaps you're elsewhere in Ontario and you're thinking, Lakehead, I've heard quite a bit about it. I want to transfer. Great. You actually have less work to do in terms of getting those documents to us because we communicate with them and they'll share them electronically. Everyone else, though, unfortunately, and more importantly to note, you will be required to send your documents directly to our admissions team, whether that's electronically, through email, or through regular physical mail. And last but not least, when you're done that, you have the opportunity to review and submit. You will need to complete your applicant's declaration, which confirms and declares that you have provided all of the information that we've asked for and that you're being truthful on this application. From there, you can see there's a few errors, so I'm not going to be able to proceed further, but when you're ready, it will actually push you through to the application, pardon me, the payment stage of the application. Folks, that is a quick overview of the undergrad application. Now it's time to dive into the graduate application. So I know that that probably is getting some folks excited. Let's head over there and chat a bit about it before we actually look at it and see what it is like online on our website. So first and foremost, if you didn't last time and you're thinking, hey, I should have done that, now's the time to take a screenshot of your the QR code on your screen, pardon me, the URL on your screen. lakeheadu.ca/apply dash now is going to get you there, and it's going to help you proceed the application. So for graduate students or those looking to join a master's program, we're going to look for the following things to do before you begin your application. Have your program option selected. Critically important, of course. If you're taking a research-based program or a thesis-based program, have your supervisor name ready, if applicable. And then you're going to want to allow for 20 minutes to complete the application form online. And you may wish to have your payment method ready. Not wish, you should have your payment method ready. to actually submit that application and get it in front of our grad studies team at an earlier case. So once again, it's that time to shift gears and head back over to the lakeheaduo.ca website. And for those of you who didn't save the URL, lakeheaduo.ca/apply now, I'll get you there. You're going to go to the homepage, click international, big purple button that says apply now. That's going to get you to our online application forms. So if I click apply now dash graduate programs fall 2025, you're going to see the application form populates. So we're looking for first name, middle name, last name, previous last name, date of birth, social insurance number, or Canadian social insurance number. We will ask for your email address, and it's critically important that you share one that you check. This is where we're going to communicate with you, but more importantly, this is where you get your login credentials to actually proceed to the formal application. You'll then be asked if you've previously attended, applied, or even been employed by Lakehead University, and whether or not you are working with an international recruitment agent, or as I noted, for the undergrad students, an authorized recruitment agent. So these are the important next steps to starting the graduate application. When you're ready, though, and we're going to shift gears to the actual portal, you will actually log in. So maybe what I should do is perhaps log out um, so that you can see what that looks like. I apologize, folks. I don't know I'll be able to log out. It recognizes me naturally that I'm here back to check out what's next. Of course, I am an admin in this space, and so you won't have this step necessarily. And so I'll be an applicant so that we can see things similarly together today. You can see I have some tester applications already on the go, but let's go ahead and add something new here. I'm gonna flip open to the Q&A, and sort of one of the first programs that jumps out, I'll see if we can use that as an example. Masters of Economics, great. So we are going to look at programs here by going to the top right and clicking programs. You can see here is a tile format or a larger format of viewing programs. For a list, I personally think I would like the list. This is how I do it. I go up to the search bar and search a keyword. So econ will give you economics in one way or another. And we're going to click more on that. For all of the programs in this application portal, each page will have something similar to this, where it's a landing page for the program. It's going to give you more details about the application. It'll give you more details about the program, admission requirements. When you think it's the right fit for you, that's when you're going to go ahead and click apply. Now you can see I have a number of tasks that are not completed naturally. So pre-application questions, if we go here, the first few options there are something only I can see. So your student status is going to be international. Your program of study will be the Masters of Art in Economic. Your intake will be September or whatever is applicable at that time. Academic year 2025 option, you can see we offer the course-based masters. Study load will always be full-time in your campus, in this case would be Thunder Bay. So right now we have completed the first stage of this. At the bottom of each task, there's going to be two buttons, save and continue editing, or mark as complete. When you save and continue editing, we can come back here and perhaps you need to change something here. In other cases or other programs where there's more options than course, you may not want to lock it in quite yet, because what mark as complete does, it actually locks the entire form. So you're no longer able to submit this page. And you can see we have a half green circle up here on the task. That's good news. That means that we can go back and edit it. Going to the application form, it's going to ask for some more information. Email address, first name, last name, middle name, all matching your passport once again. Former name, chosen name, birth date, gender, social insurance number, address information. So this one here, if you're at your home, you're going to provide your address once, and then you'll actually have to provide it a second time. If you live outside of Canada or the United States, you can select foreign for the province. So right here, there's a drop down. Foreign is the last option. And then if you're not in Ontario, our province here that we call home, you're going to select non-Ontario for the county. And so that is the second last option for whatever reason. And then you will be required to include a phone number. So let's say you put your cell phone. I always encourage everyone, just simply add your phone number with no additional characters, no brackets, no hyphens, no dashes, just the digits is what we require. Save and continue editing. I didn't complete all that, so it's going to give me a few warnings. However, it is ideally going to save some of the information I've already selected. So it did save that I had put in foreign and not Ontario. And that's great. So we can come back and edit this when we're prepared to provide more details. You have an opportunity to upload of unofficial transcripts, unofficial proof of degree. In this case, we require academic references, and then submission fee is where I actually would proceed to paying the online application fee. Once you've paid the fee, once you've uploaded transcripts, once you've completed all the forms, go into each task, mark as complete, and then at the bottom, this button here that says submit, which is not something I can use right now, will become clickable or actionable. Alrighty, folks. So that is a quick overview of the grad application. Pretty straightforward. Of course, I've been dealing with it for a number of years, so I'm well versed in the application forms. If you have any questions for us, and I certainly hope you do, now is the time to pose them and get your answers. I'll be working to answer them live. I know that Paula and Christine have been very busy behind the scenes answering questions by text. So now's your opportunity to pose anything to us. I will remind viewers once again, questions should come through the Q&A function. And also, most importantly, any question goes. If you are looking to learn more about admissions, great. That was today's session, and hopefully we shared enough details that sparked new questions. But if it's about anything Lakehead, perhaps it's residence, perhaps it's arrivals, excursions, and exploring new hometowns, I'm your guy. We are here to help. We want to guide you through your journey to Lakehead. So this question said, I've looked into a few master's programs and references were not listed as a requirement. Is there a specific type of program that usually requires it? Oftentimes, thesis programs will require it. Doctoral programs almost always exclusively require references. However, I would encourage you, since we don't have a published list where you can look at every program at one quick glance, go into each of those programs within the application portal for grad students and determine what are the requirements, what is required of me. I will note when you are going into that form, the first page where it asks for your student information, make sure you fill that out first, because by selecting international, it may populate additional details or additional tasks. This question says, do we have family accommodations on campus if we take admission for doctor in philosophy? Unfortunately, neither of our campuses offers family accommodations, and that applies to all programs. So it's not just because you're doing a PhD. Unfortunately, we just don't have family housing accommodations. Our on-campus residence, because it's guaranteed to all first-year students for individual stays, we unfortunately can't facilitate welcoming students that are outside of registered students or enrolled students. You will have an opportunity, though, to join us at some upcoming events related to off-campus housing and finding the right place for you. So based on that information, I hope that you have patience with us as we look to share more details about how to secure housing outside of our campuses for situations like this where you are coming with your family or desire to come with your family. Is campus housing guaranteed for first-year students? Yes, it is. It is if you register by the deadline, that is. So the deadline is the beginning of June this year. We have that information published on our website. Check it out. Make sure that you understand what you're signing up for. And then, of course, secure housing. Secure housing, simply register for residence, and you'll be good to go, ready to arrive here in Canada. This question says, what is the required documents that I need to get a study permit? It varies, and it is actually country specific, visa office specific. And so if you go to IRCC, there's an opportunity to actually download that booklet that's tied to your country. So in this case, it looks like you may be coming from Kenya. So I would encourage you to go onto IRCC's website and consult the book that's dedicated to applicants coming from Kenya, and it will give you more details exactly what they're looking for, and it will use terminology that's familiar to you and all that. This next question, it says, are there any scholarship opportunities for masters in nursing? Unfortunately, a vast majority of our scholarship opportunities for grad students are limited. So we only have a small number of assistantships or scholarships funding opportunities for grad students. So typically we are looking for grad students, pardon me, that fully fund their own education. I would note that there are opportunities to do faculty research, and that could be a paid position, but you should definitely connect directly with any of your applicable supervisors or your course instructors to see if they have any more details. Is the meal plan mandatory upon offer of for on-campus housing? It is in select options. So all of our dormitories in Thunder Bay and Aurelia, we do require a meal plan because there's no kitchen facilities. On the Thunder Bay campus, there are townhouses and apartments where you actually share 4 bedrooms, private rooms, but then you share a living room, kitchen, dining room. Because you have access to those full living amenities, you would not be required to participate in the meal plan. However, they are optional. If you get sick of cooking, if you just want maybe your dinners covered, but you can handle breakfast and lunch, there's flexibility in our meal plans, which is really great. The student says, I was admitted to 3 programs, all 3 HB Com. That warms my heart because I'm a graduate of our HB Com program. They've clarified if their goal is to obtain a CPA certification as soon as possible, which program would be the best choice. Definitely a honors Bachelor of Commerce Accounting. It's a dedicated major to accounting students. When they graduate from their 4 years, they've already satisfied quite a few of the requirements, and they don't require additional testing or review to then go into their CPA accreditation and then eventually get their hours and write the necessary tests. There's layers to that, so if you have questions, I encourage you to reach out directly to the Faculty of Business Administration, and they'd be happy to share more. I am certain of that. Any tips, tricks in order to get a study permit with no problem? I'm from Romania. Alexandra, that's an incredible question. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily have the inside scoop, or I don't have the direct line of communication with immigration officers. What we have seen though is being upfront with an immigration officer is incredibly important. So when it comes to funding, for example, if you are looking to provide that proof of financial means to join us here in Canada, it's going to ask for a significant sum of money. If your funds are coming from 2, 3, 4, 5 locations, maybe even more, I would encourage you combine all those documents and make a cover page for that and explain why you're accessing those funds. And if they're anyone else's funds, for example, you may wish to get a letter from them stating that they've given you those funds for your studies in Canada. With that being said, to circle back to the main point, the tips and tricks, making sure that you have all the documentation. If you want to reach out to us, you're more than welcome to, and we can help review that. But we can't make any decisions on that at the end of the day. Alrighty, this next question says, for the undergraduate program, if you're complete in filling your application form and will pay the fee immediately, or should they apply and accept first before paying money? You will be required to pay the application fee nonetheless. So to apply to Lakehead, to get your documents in front of an admissions officer, all applications need to be paid for. So you can complete that process first. And then at that point, when you're ready to hopefully accept an offer, we're hoping that you get that offer. It's incredibly important that you do it in a timely manner. So you receive that offer, accept it right away. There's no sense, hopefully, in waiting or dilly-dallying, as we like to say. You can proceed to accepting your offer, which at that point, we will then invite you to complete a PAL request form, provincial attestation letter request form. And then if you are approved, hopefully within a short time frame, you'll be invited to make all the applicable deposits, which will secure your seat and guarantee that we're going to issue you a PAL. What is the appropriate time for applying for scholarship opportunities after admission is granted or before? So for undergrad students, you're automatically considered for our entrance scholarship. There's select other entrance awards and bursaries that you could apply for. I would encourage you to do that now and make sure that deadlines have not passed. If you're looking for grad Unfortunately, there's not as many scholarship opportunities. They're quite limited in terms of availability, and they're called a graduate assistantship. It's essentially an employment contract between you and your department or Lakehead University, and will ensure that you're getting some important tasks done during that time. Alrighty. This question says, after submitting your documents, what's the next thing to expect? Um, our expectation is to have a little patience. So hopefully once you've submitted those documents, you'll give us a few weeks to review them. We will do our best to do that as quickly as possible. And our admissions team actually has been quite proficient this year in terms of processing documents when the application is complete. So make sure all the documents that are required, all of the transcripts that you've listed, all the institutions you listed have a transcript that corresponds to it. Make sure that sort of information is provided from the beginning of the process, and we'll be able to review and assess your application much, much, much quicker. Alrighty, folks. We'll see if any more questions roll in, but in the meantime, I want to remind our viewers today, don't forget to follow us. You can find us at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And once again, thank you for joining us. It's been my pleasure, but it looks like perhaps that may be the end of the questions. So I'll wrap it up here and say bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.